Looking to catch up on the latest Star Wars books? Try listening to them on audio. Featuring sound effects and music directly from the movies, Star Wars audiobooks are the definitive listening experience. From brand new audiobooks such as Alphabet Squadron and the audiobook exclusive Dooku Jedi Lost, to our blockbuster movie tie-in editions, you'll have plenty to keep you entertained. Start listening wherever audiobooks are sold. This episode of Coffee with Kenobi is brought to you by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. For all of your travel needs to Disney theme parks, the cruise lines, or anywhere you want to go on vacation, be sure to go to our affiliate link, which can be found in the show notes, on the front of our webpage, or on our Twitter feed, and sign up for a free, no-obligation quote. We are also brought to you by One Nation Coffee, the official brew of Coffee with Kenobi. For the best coffee in the galaxy, go to www.onenationcoffee.com and sign up for a subscription service so you never miss out on the best coffee in the galaxy.
This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to show number 286 of Coffee with Kenobi, your spoiler-free place for Star Wars discussion, analysis, and rhetoric. I'm here drinking One Nation coffee out of my black and orange Rancho Obi-Wan mug. It is the black mug with the orange interior. It is a thing of beauty, and we are here to have an exciting show for you. On today's show, I actually have, well, why don't we just have him come in and start talking so you can guess who it is?
Hello there.
Wow. Is it James? Nope. It is the Coffee with Kenobi co-creator, Mr. Cory Clubb. Hey, buddy.
How's it going? Thanks for having me on, man. I love coming on. It's a blast.
You know,
I did the voice because I'm routinely doing voices and trying to get, the best ones out there for folks listening to our Patreon show.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to the Patreon show yet, there's all kinds of voices on there, and who knows who will show up and what will happen. Let's take a quick poll of those listening. Let's go raise your hand and see if you're a Patreon listener. Go ahead and raise your hand. I see a couple folks out there. That's great. Okay, yeah, that's right. But hands down. No, hands down. Stop putting them up. That's
one
fine.
at a time, please.
Yes, but that's all. We'll stop right there. We don't want to get too over.
And you're like in mid-season form.
Thanks.
So here's something fun. Of course, longtime listeners to the show know that Cory and I started Coffee with Kenobi in May of 2013. And for 4 years, Cory and I were co-pilots. He turned off the microphone, although he's certainly been a frequent reoccurring guest. He still does all the design for us, and he is on the show with me each and every week alongside Tom on our CWK Pour Over Patreon show, which we will certainly talk about throughout the program. But today, here's something kind of interesting, Cory, that might blow your mind, and
okay.
Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time it's just been me and you on an entire Coffee with Kenobi since we broke down The Last Jedi trailer.
It could be true.
So that was back in 2017.
But it could be true.
Like August or September 2017.
I've come on and guest starred, I guess, and helped host and whatnot.
Yeah.
But nothing like just one-on-one, the good old days.
Yeah, just
you
the
Wild
and me.
West of podcasting right now.
That's right. We're reckless. Well, usually I have you on for the anniversary shows with Jat, but James came on live with us, of course, on the Celebration Chicago podcast stage, which was a real thrill. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, I released the video of that podcast stage appearance, and it was, an absolute blast.
Yeah, it was great memories, man. I love sitting there. We've had a lot of folks chime in and kind of like, oh yeah, I love that. I was on the show and sitting in the audience and we were getting the CWK selfies. I think it's fun to be able to get that stuff kind of like every once in a while, kind of shoot it out there and get it going as far as like, I don't know, just memories are relived and whatnot. And what a great time we had.
Well, one of the great memories from that entire podcast stage appearance was, of course, when we had Alex on.
Yeah.
I believe, Alex, I'm spelling your last name Procaccio. I think it's Procaccio. I think that's right. If not, Alex, please feel free to correct me. Thank you. He's a great guy, great Coffee with Kenobi supporter and listener.
Yeah.
And he is the person I will never forget.
Yeah.
Besides being such a charming guy. Alex came on stage with us, as did a number of Coffee with Kenobi listeners, and he took a selfie of him on the stage.
It was a secret selfie.
It was, because we weren't aware that he was doing it. And to make it even more exciting is that he had a Coffee with Kenobi phone case.
Yeah.
Remember that?
That's the first one that I've seen other than you.
Yeah.
Having had one. But no, I remember that, definitely. I remember he was secretly just taking a selfie and hanging out, big smile on his face. And we kind of caught him taking a selfie. We were like, dude, if we're gonna take a picture of us, at least we can smile or something like that. It was just fun, because those spontaneous moments are the best thing about Celebration and being on the podcast stage, and just walking down the line of folks that were waiting to get into our stage show, and greeting folks before the show started and after the show, and just talking to people for hours and hours and hours, and just getting and just having a good old time. It's just so much fun. I love it.
It is fun. We've certainly got a lot of fun things to talk about. Before we jump into it, although, what's going on with you, man? Catch everybody who doesn't listen to our Patreon show. Let everybody know kind of what's been going on in your world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a kind of a crazy season. We've been doing a lot of home plans and whatnot. We've had some disasters and some fixes and some new things and whatnot. So it's been kind of crazy on the home front, but everybody's doing good. Taking care of business. Work is good. Regularly playing D&D with you guys. If you guys are Patreon listeners, again, we kind of recap some of those adventures. That's a big fun time, and who knows what's going to happen there. That's even crazier than this podcast. But it's just a good time. I think the other thing is I'm trying to kind of center myself as far as like getting directives, as far as, I think we've talked on the show before, balancing our hobbies and our I don't know, I guess our fandoms along with our personal lives and families and friends and such like that. So it's always a balance, I think, for me. I always take a restock. I take what's going on every season, and it seems to be summer season always is the fun season. There's summer movies coming out, there's conventions. Yeah. There's, all kinds of stuff going on, and people more available to do stuff. So it's always been difficult in the summertime to kind of weed some of that back and take stock of what's important. So trying to be diligent on that. Sure. And workouts going well. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I try to post on there. Everything's great. Going
and in
well.
the summer, I see you pretty regularly in the gym, because I can come a little bit later.
Yeah, it's actually been cool. I think it's your time's synced up well with ours. I've actually, my oldest son Wesley has been hanging out with us in the mornings and doing his own routine, which is kind of fun. I think, because for him it's an older kid thing to do. He's a teenager now, and he wants to get his own thing going, and he's doing a good job with that. So he enjoys hanging out with Mr. Zare and Mr. Gross. Tom has been walking around too, so he's been covering some classes and stuff that he teaches. So it's kind of cool to see him as well. So. Yeah, it's a blast. I think it's a lot of fun to do that stuff, and I'm just doing well, and things are going well.
It sounds good. Well, it's cool. I have the good fortune to see you fairly regularly, but I know everybody's been excited to kind of catch up with you. So let's shift to Star Wars. As it turns out, this is a Star Wars podcast. So that's exciting.
It is. I thought it was a Ghostbusters podcast.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Who are you gonna
call?
There's only so many catchphrases you can have for Ghostbusters.
That's
but
true.
Star Wars is quite a few more. They're classic. Did you see Paul Rudd?
I did see that.
That was great. And he said, I slimed myself. Yeah.
He's hilarious. I think it's so cool to see him in that capacity, because we've seen him in so many different things. He's such a comedian, but also he has that softer side to him. And I'm off the rails already. It's not a Ghostbuster podcast. I'm sorry. Good stuff.
No, that's kind of what our pour-overs are like too. Yeah, and it doesn't like we're making a giant pour-over commercial. We're actually not. It's just a fun show, and just sort of course, we want you to listen, and we'll talk about that later. But it's just fun. It's fun catching up with you. Let's catch up on your Star Wars. What kind of Star Wars have you been consuming? What's kind of caught your eye over the past couple of weeks or so?
That's a good question. There's so much stuff coming out. I know I happened to pick up the Alphabet Squad. The book that came out recently, the novelization of the new release from Del Rey. I haven't got a chance to read it yet. It's kind of like I'm packing it away for summer and trying to get, hopefully during this little break here in July, I'll be able to stow away some time to read it. But that's kind of been...
Did you change your office already?
Change my office?
Yeah, didn't you switch things up a little bit?
I did. I had a side office, and we changed it into a sunroom, and basically last fall we had put an addition on off that sunroom, so that now my office is downstairs and it's a little bit more open, I guess. But I don't have as much stuff in here. I'm looking around now as it is. I don't have much stuff in here right now. I've still got to finish up one more wall to get it ready, but time will tell. I haven't got that organized yet necessarily. All the Star Wars stuff is still sitting out. And it's funny because I say that my parents have been cleaning out their attic and all their stuff. And they came across an old Return of the Jedi lunchbox I have sitting here. It has the...
I don't think I knew that, did I?
Maybe not. It's the old lunchbox from Return of the Jedi. It's got
Luke
the plastic. And Jabba. It's got the Ewoks in the front. Ewok, Wicket, and R2-D2. Kind of, they're in the forest. It's a red lunchbox. It's got my brother's name on it. It's a thermos style or version, I guess. A classic lunchbox. They found it because they were doing some clean out as well. So I've got that. I've also got the thermos that's in it that says a P Club, which is my brother Philip Clubb. He had this when he was a kid. But it was cool to see this again. I'm got to hold on to this just because, memories and whatnot. But that's something new in my world, I guess.
For sure.
But it's nothing necessarily like Star Wars centric. I feel like ever since Celebration, we've had kind of a little bit of a lull on Star Wars news, respectively from the movies and obviously from Celebration itself. Sure. And, we're waiting on a lot of stuff, I think. We're waiting for Disney Plus to take off in the fall. I'm excited for that. But it seems like kind of they're ramping it up. You can feel the anticipation a little bit. I still go to the store and, walk to the toy aisles and see the Star Wars stuff. I think, man, there's nothing new for a while. It just feels like we're missing something. So
the Star Wars toy aisles really are lacking tremendously. And that's sort of the natural progression of things because we have, as you mentioned, we have our slow burn that's slowly rising as we go to the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So I find, sometimes I get a little disappointed with that, but we do have some cool Resistance figures, although it would be cool to have an extra wave. I just heard Aaron and Dave Motters on Resistance Reactions talking about that, and I certainly agree with you, gents. Yeah, it was a fun show. Comics with Kenobi is doing wonderfully. They're always, they have their weekly podcast, so they talk about the latest comics. A lot of people love comics because of those two, which is wonderful. Legends Library, of course, Randy is there. His shows have been coming out a little more slowly regularly because life gets very, very busy, and we completely understand that. But whenever we see a new Legends Library come up on the podcast feed, that's always great. And of course, Amy and Dre with Lattes with Leia, they are probably the busiest professionally in their fandoms. And I don't think that's probably, I think that's absolute. But they're doing wonderfully as well. And Comic-Con is coming up.
Yeah.
I got to say, as I've mentioned a few times over the past few weeks, I'm not going to go to this year's Comic-Con. I went last year in San Diego. It was really fantastic. My wife and I went and had an absolute ball. I'm sitting this one out because we're going on a beach vacation, my family, and so that's going to be great. And to be honest, as much as wonderful as Deanna is and as supportive as she is, I said, next time I go somewhere, let's do a family vacation.
Yeah.
And she was like, that sounds great. So we're going to do that. I do think, it's a little early, and we've got Celebration next year, of course, but it would be kind of fun if you and Tom and I went to Comic-Con next year in San Diego.
That'd be a blast. Yeah, I think it's because Comic-Con has a different vibe to it than Celebration, obviously. Yeah. I feel like it's a little more pop-centric, pop culture-centric. There's more celebrities from across many fandoms, obviously. There's a lot going on. A lot of releases, a lot of news coming out of Comic-Con. They typically debut trailers for upcoming movies or TV shows. It's not necessarily a comic book convention anymore. It's more of kind of like a star-studded event, which fans are obviously welcome to attend and get to meet and greet folks. And it's become kind of a high-level thing, I would think. It seems like there's a who's who of fandoms kind of show up and do their thing and show things off. So I think obviously there's a lot of exclusives too, that come out and they're exclusive to Comic-Con, and whatnot.
hard
It's
to
always
get.
kind of fun to see those. Oh, so hard to
You
get.
know what it's like at Celebration, and the ones at Comic-Con
Yes.
are equally as hard, if not harder. I mean, in Funko, if you don't get the lottery, like the Funko lottery where you can actually go to the store, forget about it. It's incredibly hard for anything like that to happen.
Yeah.
Which is a little unfortunate, but I mean, it all works out. It all works out really well. Celebration Chicago, I know we had quite a few shows about that. But as time has gone on, my opinion of Celebration Chicago sort of evolved a little bit. I was curious to sort of see where you were at with Celebration Chicago.
Yeah, recently they announced the ticket sales went on sale. Was it maybe 3 weeks ago? Or maybe longer than that?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Okay.
Yep. They're already sold out.
They're sold out now. Yeah. So, folks, good luck out there. But
there's a few individual day passes, but I think Friday and Saturday are gone. I know the 4-day passes are totally done.
But just to compare it to Comic-Con, like we had kind of said, but I think Celebration is growing to that level of Comic-Con, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's getting there. The fandom is growing, it's changing, it's evolving. So it's definitely moving in that bigger, I don't know how to say it. Like, it's just garnering a lot of attention from fans, obviously, from media outlets and those involved. So, looking back, we mentioned the podcast stage. I'm getting ready, and they were announcing that it was going to be in Chicago, and how excited we were that, like, oh man, it's going to be right in our backyard. Obviously it's a city we've been to numerous times. The Cubs play there. We had so many ideas, and then so many thoughts we were going to do stuff, and it was a blast. I had a good time, and I think it was different than past celebrations because of the city itself. Not necessarily a bad way for me. The weather was a little bit kind of a bummer, I think. But looking at the different pieces of how they put Celebration together, they had the online lottery. If you didn't get into, you had your choice of picking different stages and trying to get into those lotteries. And if you didn't, I know a lot of folks were saddened to not get anything at all. Some people got everything, and so there's a whole gamut of different types of things that kind of were different this time around. I mean, I enjoyed not waiting in line as much as possible, because it was that's a bummer. I remember doing that in Anaheim the first time around, just waiting outside in the pitch darkness of the early morning. That was no fun. I think they're trying to get the right mix of what's going on. But for Chicago, I enjoyed it. I think I had more fun hanging out with my friends, Tom and you, of course, making new friends at panels, meeting new guests I haven't met before, James Arnold Taylor, and folks like that. I felt like it feels weird, but here's what I'm going to put it in this context. For me, it's like my first celebration was Anaheim, and that was like I'm freshman year in high school. And the next one was like Orlando. And I feel like, okay, I'm like a sophomore. I kind of know what I'm doing. And, I can work my way around. And this time around, it was like I'm a junior in high school. And I'm kind of getting up there. And I know what, to make and break, what to do, what not to do type of thing. I don't feel as, flustered on if I didn't get into something. And then, there's an upcoming one back to Anaheim. I feel like it's a no-brainer. Obviously, we're going to go. But I don't feel any apprehension necessarily. Obviously, anxieties rise as it takes closer, but I still feel like, Chicago was a good venue. I think it was a good kind of, I want to say it was kind of like a test market in the sense of like seeing what's going to happen with this type of city, what type of people will this kind of call into. And then, of course, the weather has to do with a lot with it too. I think a lot of folks were bummed out at being cold and snowy. But then again, a lot of people didn't mind it because they'd never seen snow before, which I thought was kind of fun.
Tell you what, both at Celebration Chicago and then at the media event for the Galaxy's Edge opening, when I talked to Matt Martin, he said that seeing that snow that one day that it was snowing sideways with snowing so hard, he said that was one of the highlights for him. Like over the past few years, he just loved it. I mean, how could you not, especially if you're not used to seeing snow?
Yeah.
It was electric and it was nice. Waiting outside was a little tricky, but for the most part, I thought it was wonderful. I mean, the weather, the atmosphere, it was a gigantic place. There was plenty of room. There were so many wonderful people there that we got to meet for the first time or get reacquainted with. The podcast meetup was absolutely glorious and wonderful. It was really just a great time. I felt busier than I ever have as far as doing
Yeah.
stuff for this show.
Yep.
And I don't see that slowing down anytime soon, which is a wonderful blessing. And I will take that, every single day. But it just kind of shifts things around. I do have some different thoughts sort of on the panels now. But as you mentioned, having the lottery thing is great because you know what to expect before you get there. And you and Tom didn't get into some of them, but it ended up being great because you had an absolute blast being out on the floor with everyone. And I got to say, and I'm sure we'll talk about this a lot over the next, year and a half or more. I think, actually, it's not a year and a half. It's a
year away,
a year
almost
from
now.
next month. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. No, I think honestly that being on the floor and running into people is my favorite part more than anything else. Seriously.
Yeah.
More than the panels, more than anything.
And that's the thing too. It's like when we first went to Anaheim, it was CWK was kind of in its infancy. I remember doing Indiana Comic-Con kind of as a trial run.
That's right.
And it was cool. But this was the big time. And we were like, okay, on the podcast stage for the very first time. Never had it before. Never been on stage before. Never done a live show before.
That's right.
And so we're like, so we have good memories from there. I'm saying it was bad. It was great memories.
Awesome.
Actually, I remember running from the trailer room to our panel was one of my favorite memories. Because it was just crazy.
You're like, what do you think? Like, let's go to the podcast stage and we'll talk about it there. Because we were the first ones to ever be on a podcast stage. We didn't really know where we were going. We had to set up and we were excited and running up all these flights upstairs. We're in much better shape now than we were then, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, it was great. I still think maybe I said that Celebration Chicago was the best one. But after time, I do feel like the Anaheim one was the best because that was the first one. We've learned so much since then. We've experienced so much, met so many more people. It's been great. Another great thing is, of course, all the Galaxy's Edge talk. This is probably the first podcast in weeks where I haven't mentioned Galaxy's Edge in the first 25 minutes. So tell you what, let's take a break. Cory is actually planning on going to Galaxy's Edge in August at Walt Disney World. Boy, that's next month. So let's take a quick break and we will find out all the planning that Cory has in mind and give him some last minute tips for Galaxy's Edge. This is Coffee with Kenobi.
This is Vanessa Marshall, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi.
Looking to catch up on the latest Star Wars books? Try listening to them on audio, featuring sound effects, top-notch narrators, and music directly from the movies. Star Wars audiobooks are the definitive listening experience. From Luke Skywalker to Kylo Ren to Admiral Akbar, you'll recognize all of your favorite characters. Listen to movie tie-ins like The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, and original titles such as Alphabet Squadron, Master and Apprentice, and the audiobook exclusive Dooku Jedi Lost. With Star Wars audiobooks, you'll have plenty of Star Wars listening to keep you entertained. Available wherever audiobooks are sold. Planning this epic vacation where you get to experience Star Wars in a whole new way, you probably want to find a way to do this that is the most stress-free and helps you maximize your vacation time and dollar. That is why you should use MEI and MouseFan Travel. They have a no-cost, no-obligation quote when you use the service, and they also proactively adjust a booking if a rate goes down. They will help your family enjoy everything, and I mean everything the Disney theme parks and the cruise lines have to offer, help plan every detail, and will share invaluable tips with you. If you are wanting to go to Batuu in Disneyland or Walt Disney World to Galaxy's Edge, MEI and MouseFan Travel is the absolute way to go. Be sure to go to our affiliate link, which can be found in the show notes, on the front of our webpage, or on social media, and sign up for a free, no-obligation quote. If you love Coffee with Kenobi and you want to find a way to help support our show, our Patreon page is an excellent way to do that. And speaking of that, I would love to thank our Coffee with Kenobi Patreon contributors: Jason Hall, Rebecca Raven, Dennis Keithley, Colby Mead, Yancey Evans, Dave Ritchie, Ross Halliban, Frank Mulder, Alexander Moylan, Melinda Wolf, Aaron Harris, Chris Kavarka, Angela Sauce, Mediocre Jedi, Christine Turk, Sean Reed, Kurt McKellen, Dan Ream, Bryce Harding, Blake Weaver, Jim Capron, Caroline Maselli, Chris Metz, LJ Souter, Thea Selby, Jeff Ellis, Daz Davies, Brian McKinney, Connie Shee, Jared Cantor, BJ Smith, Eric Struthers, Nick Deco, and Mark Suter. Your monthly contribution to Coffee with Kenobi does not go unnoticed. It does so much to help our show with the travel, with the equipment, with the amount of time and passion and love I put into the show. You help to make it possible, and I can't thank you enough. And you get something out of it, as well as supporting us. You get access to CWK Pour, which is our weekly podcast that myself, Tom Gross, and Cory Clubb do, where we talk about all kinds of popular culture topics, Star Wars, behind the scenes of this show, and so much more. In addition to that, we have CWK Lens, which is something where I do video and photos that I post just for you, where you get access to things that no one else gets to find out about that goes on within the show, my immediate thoughts and reactions to different Star Wars topics, and so much more. In the meantime, if you have any questions or want to see what Patreon's Coffee with Kenobi page is all about, be sure to go to www.patreon.com/coffeewithkenobi to sign up today. We are back, and as promised, we're going to find out about Cory's planning for Galaxy's Edge at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Kind of tell me what you've been doing to get ready for this incredible event.
Well, I've been following your every movement ever since you've gotten back. Just trying to get all the details around, what it will be like for Disney World versus Disneyland. And we do, just to confirm, we do have reservations in September. And I was looking this up just a week ago or so.
Oh, I said August because that's when it opens.
Well, it does open in August. That's what I was going to say. I think it's the 28th. Is it?
Yep,
August 28th. Right. It's actually officially open.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go there. Let's see, September. Ooh, I'm looking at my calendar here. I apologize. Let's see. So the second week of September, it would be the 9th through the 13th. I take that back. Sorry, 16th through the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
So it's.
Oh, yeah, the date's right when you book the airplane. You're good.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, we're leaving. We're leaving actually the 13th that Friday and driving. So we'll be there all that next week, and that's 2 weeks from when it officially opens. And I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that they still have the reservations intact, like they did with Disneyland. I know that's one thing. My wife is a planner, and if you guys have ever been to Disney, you know how crazy fun it is. Like, you want to do everything, you want to eat everything, you want to ride everything, you want to see everything. And years past, we've tried to do that, and we've learned from that, especially with our kids going. We have to know what we can do, what we can't do, what we like to do, what we don't like to do, things like that. Obviously, you kind of fine-tune these things as you will. And my wife has gotten so good at it, she can break down our Disney day to the bathroom break. The bathroom break, Dan.
Are you serious?
I mean, oh yeah, absolutely. Because it's crazy to the fact that, that's their tip on a little Disney tip for you. I'm not a Jim Hill or anything like that, but I would say when you have a chance to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. Because you don't know when you'll find the next one necessarily. You might be waiting in line. You might be, eating dinner or whatever the case would be. So,
as I learned from Daniel Tiger when Mason was younger, when you have to go potty, stop and go right away.
That's excellent life advice. Absolutely,
I think so too.
Stop and go right away. Yes.
Your kidneys, thank you.
Yeah, so unless you're watching Avengers, then Avengers Endgame, you don't want to. You hold that one out. That's yeah. Right. Anyway, back to less potty jokes. But for Disney, we are definitely getting things lined up. Actually, this week we were looking at Magic Bands. They have you can get official Disney, I want to say their wrist covers, or they're exclusive to the hotel, to the parks themselves. Yeah. But they're on sale for $10.
I wouldn't do it if I was you.
Why not? It's fun.
Oh, yeah, but isn't it sort of like a cover that goes over it?
It's not an actual band?
I don't think so. I you know what? If you send me a picture, I can tell you exactly.
Okay, I'll do that.
But sometimes they have, I don't know, kind of weed through some of that stuff. Because you never know. I mean, they have certain plans in mind. I know. I think that the technology, and people who've been looking at Lucasfilm, especially the last one that came out the week of the 4th of July, that one talks about how the interactivity as far as leaving from Smuggler's Run and going to Oka's Cantina or Savvy's Workshop or wherever you go in Batu, In Disney World, the things are going to be able to follow you a little more clearly because of the Magic Band. So you're going to have an advantage that people in California haven't had. And now none of this is confirmed.
Sure.
But it's certainly, I mean, just logistically, and I don't think I'm giving away any secrets here. Logistically, one of the things the Magic Band has done for people at Walt Disney World is when you use it, it helps keep track of your preferences, what you like. It's your room key. You can charge stuff with it if you decide to set that option up. It helps you plan all your fast passes and use the app more cleanly.
Mm-hmm.
It really is incredible. Disney, I mean, it's pretty clear that I'm biased to Disney over the years. Disneyland, the way that they organize Galaxy's Edge, I have no doubt it's going to be really smooth and seamless on Disney World. So it'll be fun to have you on after you've been to the one in Florida, because it's quite possible you'll be at the one in Florida before I am. So you can give us the scoops on kind of, what we experience. And, as you mentioned,
compare notes.
We've had what 4 or 5 weeks of shows about Galaxy's Edge, so you've had plenty there for you to kind of get your whistle wetted, so you know what's going on, what to expect. But do you have any sort of questions for me while we're chatting on the air, or maybe let us know what you're most excited about?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too, is we're wondering what we can and can't do in Galaxy's Edge. I'll ask this question. This is a great question for us and our family. Our youngest daughter is in a wheelchair. How accessible by wheelchair is Galaxy's Edge for a person that has special or disabilities or special needs? So,
it's great. I think it's. I think they're excellent. I mean, there's elevators. I saw the elevators in Smuggler's Run. As it takes you right there, so you can get right onto the bridge.
Smuggler's Run is the Millennium Falcon ride.
That's right.
So if you were to take the elevator, would you bypass the walkthrough? Obviously, you bypass the walkthrough.
Oh,
would
yeah.
Would you not be able to get through that kind of that queue? Because I know that's kind of fun, right? I mean, it's kind of neat to see that stuff.
You see a lot of the image. You get to see the back of the Falcon and the top with the 6 exhaust vents. And, that's an excellent question. You could always say to them, I mean, Disney's very accommodating.
Oh, yeah.
And your daughter's adorable, so I'm sure they'll do anything they want. But just say, I really want to see the back of the Falcon. How can I do this?
Make this happen, yeah.
It may be a thing where the first time you go through, you guys you take the elevator, and then maybe you'll have to go through again. I don't actually know the answer, but I can certainly try to find out for you.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to pull a fast one on Disney at all. I mean, because past years we have
see it all. I'm sure.
I think that Disney is at the top of their game, the leader, if you will, in accessibility for people with special needs or disabilities of that stature. We've never had a problem. Obviously, Disney does a crack job as far as getting folks accessible to certain rides and knowing how to handle that with ease, and obviously great passion too. So I think it's something that's interesting to me, because I want my daughter to be safe and have a good time and do the things that everyone else can do. So I think it's interesting to see how their engineers and folks will work tirelessly to make that happen for her, especially in this new area. I know they do a good job of making sure that everything is accessible for everyone to go and attend.
You'll be pleased. And the entire land itself is very, very smooth. You know what I mean? Like, and even though like the walkways are some of them are sort of aged to show that they've been through a lot of action in weather and things of that nature. No, it's a very, very easy place to get around. It's very, very open. There's plenty of room and plenty of place for your entire big, wonderful family. So I think you're going to be really pleased. I really do.
Great. Well, good to hear. Very good.
That's awesome. So we've got that. What are you most excited about when you're there?
I'm excited for them.
Holocrons that I give you money to buy.
Oh, that'd be great. The biggest thing that I'm excited for is seeing the Millennium Falcon and just having the opportunity to go into it, physically go walk into it and explore it. And I think that's something that when you think of a Star Wars fan, there's always a question that pops up: who's your favorite character, or what's your favorite ship, or something like that. And for most cases, a lot of people say the Millennium Falcon. I know that's one of favorite for me. One of your favorites, obviously. And then the dream is to go and step foot in it. And, you think to yourself sometimes, that'll never happen. It's just a pipe dream. It's a fantasy. But Disney's made it real. Disney made that experience so hands-on from the videos I've watched, from just you doing it. And obviously you're up close and personal with everything. You get to see everything. I think it's to bring that experience to the fan in that capacity is fantastic. It's almost overwhelming to think about it, because it's like, it's unreal. I remember you had your reaction video for seeing the Falcon for the first time, and it's almost like you can't blink or something. It's the fact that you are like, is this really happening? Is this really real?
It's surreal. It
totally is.
And you're gonna get a great image too, because I'm sure you've heard the way they've got 4 different photo booths set up, not booths, but
areas or something. Mm-hmm.
But they've got it set up with the way the lenses are, that when you're getting the picture, it will look like you're the only one in the park.
That's great. Yeah, I've seen the photos that you've posted, and other people have as well. And
mine actually was the one, but this,
But
this one, the way they've done it now, that's just the way they've set it up, the way they position it. It's gonna appear very much like it's just you on Batuu, on Docking Bay 5, which is the name of Docking Bay, by the way.
Okay,
where the Falcon is on Batuu.
Huh.
Oh man, I'm so excited. The main regret I have is that I won't be able to be there with you the first time you walk in. But you're gonna have a blast, my friend.
Yeah, I'm excited to be with my family too, to do it and see the reactions, and just it's. I think that's what fandom comes down to. It's a love of something, but also sharing that love of something with somebody else, or friends or family, or who may be. And that's what fandom is. It's not just keeping a hold of this thing and, digging it and making it your own. It's sharing with others. So even though my wife isn't the biggest Star Wars fan, she's going to enjoy the time because she knows it's fun for me, the kids, and just, enjoying the time togetherness, making the memories. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Oh, she'll love it just because she's a Disney fan. And my wife's the same way. I said, gosh, I really want to take Mason to Disney. And she's like, oh my gosh, that would be great. Can we please wait till we can all do that together?
Yeah.
Of course. I want us all to walk in the Galaxy's Edge as a family. That would be awesome. So obviously, any good dad would buy a lightsaber at Savvy's Workshop for all of his children. And, what kind of dad would you be if you didn't?
That's the thing, is like, I've got 5 kids, and you're talking,
$1,000. I love the experience.
I would have to get a job there and start sweeping floors or something like that, just to make the money back. But
all the Rathar in the parade and clean up.
That's right, Rathar poop. Yeah, great. We need someone to do that. Oh boy, no, it is fun.
But go in there and do that, or just I don't think.
I think we'll try to at least go through the experience. I don't know if we'll purchase anything.
But you have to Savvy's Workshop. Where you build your own lightsaber, it costs. You can't just go in and watch. So you have to at least
really?
Go with someone.
Okay.
Who's going to build one, or if you just go into Doc Ondar's, that's where they have the legacy lightsabers and they sell the holocrons, Jedi and Sith, and they have.
So you have to pay to get into the experience, and you're
walking out with a one-of-a-kind souvenir.
Yep. I see. Okay, so we've talked about this a little bit on the Patreon show.
Yeah.
And, it was similar to what you do in Hogwarts. Hogwarts. I don't even know Harry Potter. What is that?
You're talking about Ollivander's.
Ollivander's the wand shop. But what's that? Diagon Alley. That's what it is. Diagon. Thank you.
Diagon Alley.
Diagon Alley. And we did that experience, and they don't make you. I guess they don't make you buy anything. You don't pay to get in. I guess the experience is you walk into a room and do your thing. But at the end, you can purchase a wand, and that was one thing my oldest son wanted to do. That was like, he was like, I'm getting a wand. This is going to happen. And he did that experience. We actually all did it. It was fun.
I've never done that. I've always wanted to.
I think I'm not a big Harry Potter fan, but you are.
Yeah.
So I think you should totally do that. I think you'll be walking away with a wand for sure.
So I do want to clarify something. Yeah,
sure.
It's not that you have to pay to get into the experience per se. But the thing is, when you walk in, at least at Disneyland, because that's the only one that's open right now, it's a proximity thing with the Disneyland app. So once you're inside, you have to make reservations to get into Savvy's Workshop, where you build a light, or to get into Oga's Cantina.
Yep.
Make reservations. So when you make the reservation, you're confirming that you're buying at least one, and there's enough room in there for you and a friend or you and a
Okay.
family member, and maybe two. But there's just not a ton of room, so it's not like people can walk around and gawk and take pictures and stuff while it's going on, because it's a very intimate, exciting experience that is very interactive. And you have to be able to hear the host, and I don't think they have microphones, so it's not like you can just walk in there and look at stuff, because
Gotcha.
it's an experience. You know what I mean?
So you can't go in and experience it and then walk out and say, "Hey, that was fun," without making I guess you're not making a commitment. You're paying for the experience, but not necessarily walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Well, that's good to know.
I'm glad that we talked about this, because and it's a great thing. When I first bought the lightsaber, I brought it home and I just looked at it and enjoyed it and all that, but I didn't even dare to try to mess with it or tinker. And then I watched some videos about it, and then I'm going to make a video of my own pretty soon.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
And I've taken it apart probably 9 or 10 times, to the point where I think I can do it blindfolded, and mess with the kyber crystal on the inside.
Forrest Gump.
Exactly, just like that, but not at all. And it's so cool. It's still my favorite thing there. I tell you what, though, before I let you go, because we're almost out of time, where are you on the burgeoning experience of the Rise of Skywalker? Where's your excitement level?
It's weird because there's so much other things going on. I know that we just got hot off the Avengers Endgame thing. Spider-Man is now out. Marvel's still rolling through, like a steamroller through their movies, and it's hard to pull away from that and go, okay, I'm gonna go watch a Star Wars movie without having bump into a Avenger here and there. I'm still excited for it because I think it's gonna really set the tone for the next I don't know how to call this, the next experience or the next piece of the Star Wars legacy. The next chapter. Yeah, I don't know what that's going to be. That's the thing, is there's so much mystery that's clouded in some of this stuff. Like where, with the Marvel stuff, you can read up on the comics, and there's some history there, and you can go back and kind of get some information from the comics and feed that into what might be coming up. You can look in the future and go, okay, I can see they've kind of set this movie up to go with this guy, and set this movie to go with this character, set this movie to go with this person. It's just like there's kind of a string line, where Star Wars is kind of like, I want to say, what's big about Rise of Skywalker is they're closing out, what is it, 35 years of Star Wars film?
42.
42. I can't do math. I've never been able to do math.
77. That's okay.
But it's interesting because that is a chapter that has basically, I want to say maybe made Marvel had such success as it has. It's set the tone for so many other film histories, and just the fandoms across the map there. And so to see this main story, the one that started it all, close out and then set in a new direction, or kick off a new generation of sorts. Anything can happen, anything, and it's fascinating to me to see what's going to happen. I haven't really read anything. I haven't really seen anything new. I'm sure there'll be, with July coming through and summer kind of, popping up, they're going to come out with, stuff in the fall, and they're going to come with exclusive, photos and stuff coming out for Entertainment Weekly or something like that, or magazines will start kind of coming out, getting hyped up. That's the thing. It's like, nobody really wants to touch Star Wars right now because we know how big of a giant it is. Let's just kind of focus on some other things and get us through the summertime, and then we'll really just dive into it in the fall. And I think it's one of those things, like we talked about, walking through the aisles of the toy store or the bookshelves and wanting things. I want to see things on the shelves that are Rises of Skywalker and whatnot. And it's weird. So I think in due time, it will kind of slingshot itself into my realm. But right now, it's laying low. It's hibernating for me.
No, that's fair. Carbonite.
Yeah. There you go. Carbonite.
Because we're a few months away from the next Force Friday adventure, which we'll have not
October,
only.
Is that October?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So we're gonna have the Rise of Skywalker, the Mandalorian, and then the new EA's Jedi.
Oh, the Jedi Order. Let's see, Jedi Order. No,
it's
the Fallen Jedi. No, Fallen. Jedi Fallen. Fallen Order. I don't know.
Something very exciting. So we're going to have the merchandise for all 3 of those properties.
Yeah.
Which is, unprecedented, really, when you think about it.
It's pretty crazy to think about, because if you're a video game fan, or if you're just a TV watcher or a TV show watcher, or if you're a film fan, you can pick which one you like the best. If whatever capacity you kind of drink in your Star Wars juice, there it is. I think it's able to hit all those different platforms and be very versatile. I think Star Wars always has been very versatile, but I think what's unique about it is they're closing out a film series, they're starting up the first ever TV series, and of course they're continuing the great TV or video games they've had going on for quite some time. So anything goes right now, I think, for Star Wars, and it's going to be pretty cool, I think, to see come fall where Disney and Lucasfilm take us.
And it is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which actually comes out November 15th.
Oh, okay.
The gameplay for that does look pretty slick.
Oh, it looks so good. My kids and I watched it. It was just, a few weeks ago that it came out. And it was pretty cool to see the character run around. He's got like this little droid or something on his back that kind of like helps him unlock things and kind of like, follows him around, and it's like hovering around by him. So it's kind of neat to see that. My kids are excited to play it out and see what happens.
Yeah, there's AT-ATs. There's some great dialogue. BD1 is the name of that droid.
BD1,
yeah. It's Cal is the hero, and it's his companion.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And we've even got Forrest Whitaker in there. I don't think it's not Xbox exclusive, is it?
No, it's on all
PS4,
platforms.
Xbox One, and PC. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
they've always been pretty good about that as far as releasing it for all platforms and whatnot. I know my kids actually been playing Battlefront 2 as of late. They released a couple new droids for that game, and Anakin is now on there, young Anakin.
That's right.
So that's pretty cool. They like he's pretty overpowered when we play him. See, they beat me up pretty good.
We've got my son Mason. He went to his friend's house a few weeks ago, and they got Disney Infinity. Which, gosh, I love that game. So we got it out of the attic. We've been playing it like gangbusters for the past few weeks. And boy, has he gotten good with it. I mean, whether he's using Darth Vader or he uses Finn and upgrades his blaster to... Oh, man, we were having the best time. Star Wars and video games have always been a good thing. I miss having Nick Deacon have his video game segments. When Jedi comes out, we'll have to have Nick on to talk about that. But speaking of having people on in fun times, boy, it's been great catching up with you, my friend, on Coffee with Kenobi.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's like riding a bike, isn't it?
It's like riding a bike, absolutely. I like a tandem bike. I'm the front, you're the back. I'm doing all the work.
Yeah, that's right.
How it works. Or is it more like those bikes, babies in the back, or the sidecar? Anyway, we'll think about that later.
Yes, I think every time you're on, I describe this like riding a bike. Maybe I'll just start saying like, just like riding it ain't like dusting crops, boy, something like that. That's what Han said, of course. Very good. Coming out of coming out of light speed.
Yeah, don't get cocky there, boy.
That's right. Fly too close to supernova, that'll end your trip real quick, wouldn't it? All right, I'm sure everybody wants to hear me quote all of A New Hope. So where can everybody reach out to you if they want to ask you a question or just say hello and thank you for all the years of Coffee with Kenobi?
Yeah, definitely. If you guys are interested in what's going on with me, check me out on Twitter at Cory Clubb. You can hit me up there with a comment or just a shout hi, and you can follow me on Instagram, and they're posting there every once in a while. I do a lot of grilling in the summertime. If you get hungry and like to watch grilling or see video grilling photos of, like, I did bacon cheese fries the other night on the grill. That. And that's not Star Wars, but it's delicious.
Yes, I'm sure Luke Skywalker will like those too.
Fried, yeah,
goes great.
That was a good time.
Milk.
So if you guys want to follow me there, you can check out there, and you can email me if you want to email me lengthy accolades. You can email me CoryC@coffeewithkenobi.com.
And of course on Twitter and Instagram at Cory Clubb, right? Yeah, and we your exit interview, we still let you keep the Coffee with Kenobi email address.
Yeah, that's right. I had some fine words to say, but that management, I don't know.
Hey, bud, man, it's always such a great blast. And then you can hear Cory and I chatting regularly, weekly, alongside CWK newsman Tom Gross on CWK Program. In fact, we're going to record one of those now. So in the meantime, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me and Cory for a cup of coffee. Really can't tell you how much we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk about and break down the Star Wars saga with me. This truly is, and I think you agree, the best mythology out there, and I can't think of better people to discuss it with than each and every one of you. Until next time, everybody, we hope you had a great holiday over the 4th of July weekend. We will see you next time. Thank you so much. This is the podcast you're looking for. Before we close out this week's show, I want to thank our CWK sponsors, Penguin Random House Audio, MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, and One Nation Coffee. Please support them the way they support our podcast, and remember to listen to new and archived shows of Coffee with Kenobi wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, YouTube, where you can find the audio as well as some occasional videos, or our website, www.coffeewithkenobi.com, or wherever you enjoy listening to your favorite shows. And if you listen to our show through iTunes, please leave us a review. You can also find us on social media apps such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, and we'd love for you to check us out there. Be sure to listen to our CWK family of shows too, including Legends Library, Resistance Reactions, Comics with Kenobi, and Lattes with Leia. Please leave a review for each of their shows as well, and be sure to subscribe to each of them individually on their own respective feeds. In addition to the places I just mentioned for Coffee with Kenobi, you can find me personally twice a month on the podcast Looking at Lucasfilm, part of the Jim Hill Media Podcast Network, as well as on Twitter at Mr. Zaher, MRZEHR, and you can find my writings on CWK's website, as well as StarWars.com, where I'm an official blogger there, as well as on IGN, where I contribute articles on Star Wars as well as some other topics.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.
There's no one here. Move along. Move along.
Looking to catch up on the latest Star Wars books? Try listening to them on audio. Featuring sound effects and music directly from the movies, Star Wars audiobooks are the definitive listening experience. From brand new audiobooks such as Alphabet Squadron and the audiobook exclusive Dooku Jedi Lost, to our blockbuster movie tie-in editions, you'll have plenty of Star Wars to keep you entertained. Start listening wherever audiobooks are sold.